Okay, so we'll go on to the next question. We'll stick with you, Shane. So what is the chef's kiss part of your career? Like, what's the most satisfying, enjoyable, rewarding, and lit AF part? What makes you the happiest?
Um, there's so many things. I think mainly it's the opportunities that it brings. Like, for example, if I wasn't in this industry, I wouldn't be speaking to you guys right now, for example. Like, if you haven't noticed by my accent, I'm not originally from Australia, from South Africa, but working in this field allowed me to come over to Australia. It allowed me to get a sponsorship a few years ago to work at an agency here. So that, for example, has just opened up this amazing opportunity to live in Australia, to have a family here, to become an Australian citizen. So that in itself, just the opportunities that working in this industry creates is amazing. I have friends and colleagues that are constantly, now even in Australia, people constantly going to, New York, London, Amsterdam, New Zealand. People are just traveling and experiencing the world, and this industry that we're in allows for that, which is just incredible that you can do that by using your creativity. I find that like fascinating. So I'm very grateful and have a lot of gratitude to the industry. The second one is probably, maybe this is like my thing of, I originally wanted to be like an artist, and I'm like a bit of a failed artist. So there's always something with an artist wants to show people their work or show the world their work, but in some way we do that in a commercial sense. We get to, and with someone else's money. So someone will give us a brief and obviously, help them create campaigns and work to sell a product. But that in a way is you expressing yourself creatively, and you're putting it out there, and it's seen by millions on TV, on out of home, or online, on TikTok, on social media. So that's quite satisfying creatively, is seeing your work out there in the real world. And even with everyone at work, we love it. Like when we see a billboard, if someone's at the MCG and they see a film that we've created on the big screen, people like take photos and they share it with everyone. Even if you've done it, so you still, every time you see it, you get a kick. You're like, wow, it's dopamine. Um, but I think that's quite creatively satisfying as well, seeing your work out there, and it feels good. And then probably I think it's just the many people that you meet from like so many different facets, whether it's in your own company and agency and all the different disciplines, but then also from the client side, and you meet all these, these CMOs and these leaders in these organizations and entrepreneurs and just amazing minds. And then when you've sold something in and you're creating it, you're working with all these production companies. So, producers and directors, and then, these visionary makers and thinkers and doers. So you're meeting all these amazing people all the time. And I think that's quite inspiring. You're always inspired by other people, and you're learning, and that's quite rewarding. And probably the last one is, I guess, again, it's like working with the people, but you know, for example, this year, as a creative, you always push for really, thought-provoking, innovative, original work. And, obviously the byproduct of that is sometimes awards, which we could probably have our own discussion on how that can affect your mental health as well. But when you do win them, it's it feels like a milestone in your career, and it helps elevate you. But I really love working with creatives who have never won awards before, and helping them to win them and get them on that path and think in that way. And it's satisfying. So this year we had a whole bunch of creatives that had won a Cannes Lion for the first time. And it's just so awesome to, your first one. You always remember your first one, which is great. I remember the first one that I won, and passing that on to other people and seeing other people come up and rise up, and their careers grow, and you know that you were like a little bit of part of that. Feels good. It's like your kids in a way, like your
Yeah.
family that
Mm.
you're a part of. And even if they leave the company and they go somewhere else, that you're always like a part of that person's life, or you were there when they did something amazing. So it's quite, there's a lot of things about this profession that are fulfilling and satisfying. There's a lot of gratitude. I know that sometimes it can feel quite heavy, and there's a lot of negatives, but there's also so much to be grateful for.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice to hear how much you love your job and how passionate you are. So I also love seeing work that I've worked on out in the open too. That gives me a little bit of a boost. So yeah, thanks, Shane. I'll just bring it over to you, Ben. Maybe I'll rephrase it a bit from a psychological perspective, the same kind of question. But I guess if you are a creative working at the moment, you aren't really feeling maybe so super passionate or loving every day, maybe what are some things that you can recommend to kind of get that passion back for the creative when you're kind of getting bogged down in all of the timesheets and and the boring stuff, the admin work, maybe?
Well, look, I guess you can. It's always worth reflecting on how your skills have developed. It's not something you notice happen. We have this thing called source amnesia, where things that we know, it feels like we've always known them. And so it's very difficult to look and see exactly how your skills have developed. And it takes a bit of reflection to be able to appreciate that. But that's always worth doing, is taking time to look back and see what sort of things you can do now that you mightn't have been able to do 5-10 years ago. I think it is, there's a whole lot of practices that are really worthwhile for flagging motivations, for gratitude diaries and things, reflecting on a daily basis about, a lot of the things I did today maybe didn't achieve a lot in the long term, but is there something today that made me feel good? Did someone benefit from something that I did? Do I feel good about that? Did someone send me an email thanking me for something? Reflecting on what is working and how things are improving is something that a lot of us need to do consciously, need to make an explicit part of our routine, because it doesn't necessarily just pop into your head that, oh, look, I've achieved these milestones, or I'm developing my skills really well, and looking around at people that you're helping and seeing how they're progressing, things that other people can do in part because you have helped them is a great opportunity, for exactly the reasons that Shane has said, that we see those people that we have helped go on and thrive, and we feel sort of a part of that, and we feel motivated by that, whether or not we have recently experienced some form of external recognition.
Yeah, no, I think that's some really good advice, like changing the focus, instead of focusing on just, what you're not liking. Yeah, like you said, focusing if you're mentoring a team, like how much they've progressed, or the gratitude. I think for me personally, what's helped sometimes is, like, I think there's research on it as well. Like if you start your day just listing like 5 things you're grateful for, and then ending the day with 5 things you're grateful for, that can actually make a huge impact on your outlook on life. So yeah, some great advice. I'll stick